Why would ancient people protect someone who could no longer survive? Before temples, before writing, before kings, someone dug a hole for a child. At Panga Yasidi in Kenya, researchers described Mtoto, a roughly 3-year-old child carefully placed in the earth around 78,000 years ago. No gold, no monument, no king, just a small body protected by sediment in a pit, with signs that the burial was deliberate. That is what makes the question so strange. A dead body cannot hunt, it cannot carry food, it cannot warn the group, it cannot protect children. So why spend precious energy protecting it? The answer is not one thing. It is fear, grief, memory, status, ancestors, and maybe one of the first signs that humans were beginning to live with the unseen. Mtoto matters because the burial is not monumental. There is no pyramid, no gold, no king, no inscription. It is small, fragile, and human. The child was not useful to the group anymore in any practical sense, but someone still treated that body with attention. Someone made death into a social act. Older and more debated evidence appears in the Levant, at sites like Qafzeh and Skhul, where early Homo sapiens were buried tens of thousands of years before the first cities. Some graves included red ochre, animal parts, or careful body positions. These details do not prove a single religion. They prove that the dead were being staged with meaning. Red ochre is especially powerful because it appears in many symbolic contexts. It can colour skin, objects, and graves. In burial, it may have marked the body, protected it, transformed it, or connected death to blood and life. Archaeologists cannot read the exact thought, but they can see that the act was not casual. Then there is Shanidar cave in Iraqi Kurdistan. This site became famous for Neanderthal remains and the controversial idea of a flower burial. The flower interpretation has been debated for decades, but newer work still shows something important. Neanderthals returned to a place where bodies were deposited again and again. That may be even more interesting than flowers, because the deepest sign of burial is not decoration. It is recurrence. A group comes back, a cave becomes associated with the dead. A landscape gains memory. The body is not simply removed from camp, it is placed somewhere that can be recognized again. This is why burial sits at the edge of archaeology and psychology. The bones can show posture, age, injuries, objects, sediment, and disturbance. But the reason is harder. Was the body buried to protect the living from smell and disease? To keep predators away? To honour a loved one? To mark identity? To prevent the dead from returning? The practical explanation is real. Dead bodies attract scavengers, they decay, they can contaminate water or camp space. Burying a body helps manage danger. But the practical explanation is not enough, because many burials show arrangement, repetition, objects, pigments, or special locations. The dead were not only disposed of, they were handled. One possibility is that burial helped the living think. Death is a problem for the mind. A person is there, and then suddenly not there. The face is recognizable, but the person no longer answers. Burial creates a ritual boundary between presence and absence. It gives grief a shape and a place. Another possibility is status. Some graves are simple, others are loaded with effort. At Sunghir in Russia, Upper Paleolithic burials included thousands of ivory beads and elaborate grave goods. Children were buried with a richness that required enormous labour. This was not a quick practical solution. It was social information made visible. The beads are a shock because each one had to be made. Someone spent hours shaping, drilling, stringing, and arranging objects for people who could no longer wear them in daily life. That effort suggests that identity did not end at death. Age, family, status, or story could follow a body into the ground. The debate itself matters. At some sites, archaeologists argue over whether a body was truly buried, naturally covered, protected, staged, or remembered. That uncertainty is not a weakness. It is how we avoid turning every old skeleton into a ritual story. This means burial did not begin as one clean tradition. It was probably many experiments. Some groups buried, some left bodies exposed, some used caves, some used pits, some added objects, some did not. The first human rituals were not a finished religion. They were repeated actions that slowly taught people what death meant. What makes burial so important is that it forces a new kind of imagination. To bury the dead, you must remember a person who is no longer acting. You must treat an invisible relationship as real. You must believe that the group includes more than the living bodies standing around the fire. That may be where ancestors begin, not as a formal doctrine, but as a feeling. The dead are gone, but not completely gone. Their place remains, their tools remain, their name may remain, their grave becomes a point on the map. And once a group has ancestors, it has a deeper past than any single living person. Burial also changes land. A campsite can be abandoned, a hunting path can be forgotten, but a grave asks people to return, avoid, protect, visit, or tell stories. It turns geography into memory. Before temples and cities, the dead may have been among the first reasons humans gave special meaning to a place. There is a danger in making this too romantic. Ancient burial was not always tender. Some bodies were treated differently. Some may have been feared. Some may have been marked by violence, exclusion, or rank. Burial can express love, but it can also express power. The grave is not automatically a quality. It is evidence of a relationship. And that is why the question still feels alive. We bury the dead because biology ends, but meaning does not end so easily. The oldest graves show that ancient humans were already struggling with the same impossible gap. The body is here, the person is gone, and the living need a way to survive that contradiction. So why did humans bury the dead? Not for one reason. For danger, for grief, for memory, for status, for ancestors, for the fear that the dead might still matter. A grave is where survival meets imagination. It is one of the first signs that humans were not only living in the world, they were beginning to live with the unseen.